welcome to this news bulletin. Firstly, World Athletics Championships are going to start in the US today. Dozens of Ethiopian, Eritrean, and Kenyan athletes are participating in these championships. Second news story is from Ethiopia. Russian Foreign Minister Sergei Lavrov is due to arrive in Ethiopia in coming days. Russian president is due to visit Iran next week, and after that, reportedly, Russian foreign minister is going to visit Ethiopia. Thirdly, we have a new story from Gambella region of Ethiopia. Yesterday, I reported that Gambella had become a recruitment field for armed groups. Number of refugees, number of internally displaced persons in Gambella is gradually increasing. Even refugees, IDPs number is getting bigger than locals in some areas. Now reportedly curfew has been imposed in Gambella. Not in Gambella city but in entire Gambella region. Fourthly, we have a new story about Wolkait, Western Tigray. Yesterday, Ethiopian Upper House held a session, a meeting, and Wolkait came under discussion there. Administrative boundaries were discussed. And we know that a few days ago when PM Abiy delivered a speech at the parliament and responded to the questions from MPs. There were questions about budget allocation for Wolkait. So once again, issue of Wolkait was raised by some members at upper house session a few hours ago. What is legal status of Wolkait now? Fifthly, we have a new story from North Shore zone of Amhara region, where a few days ago there was heavy fighting between Oromo armed locals and Amhara regional forces. Then we saw a statement from Amhara Fano militia which confirmed that a large number of Amhara special force soldiers had been killed. So a counter offensive was expected. Regional forces were seen heading towards Ataya. Reportedly, last night, regional forces, special forces launched a counter offensive against Oromo armed locals in 4 directions. We'll have a look at this development. Firstly, World Athletics Championships are going to start in coming hours in Oregon, US today. It's a top athletics event, and around 192 countries are participating in these championships. 1,972 athletes will compete in around 50 categories. From Ethiopia, around 40 athletes will compete. From Eritrea, 10 athletes will be part of the competitions, and from Kenya, 46 athletes are participating in this top athletics event. We'll keep you updated about these competitions in coming hours. Any athlete who will break an international record in any category will get 100,000 US dollars. Let's see, will any athlete break a world record in these championships or not? That remains to be seen. Second news story is about Russian presence in Africa. Russian Foreign Minister Sergei Lavrov is due to visit Africa, and for Russia, Ethiopia is of prime importance. That is why Sergei Lavrov will arrive in Addis Ababa after Putin's visit of Iran. Vladimir Putin, Russian president, is due to visit Iran on Tuesday. And after that, Sergei Lavrov will visit Ethiopia. On the 26th or 27th of July, he will arrive in Ethiopia, almost after 10 days from now. We know that firstly, Russia is planning to organize Russia-Africa Summit, and the summit will be organized in Addis Ababa, Ethiopian capital. It will be held in October or November. Preparations are underway. We have seen China organize a similar conference a few days ago, but that was China Horn of Africa conference. Russia is due to organize a Russia-Africa summit, and Russia has chosen Addis Ababa as venue for this conference. That shows the nature of relations between, that shows how strong Russia-Ethiopia ties are. And we know that African countries have been supporting, they are supporting Russia in Russia-Ukraine conflict, at least diplomatically, at UN General Assembly sessions, at UN Human Rights Council sessions. African countries stood with Russia. Though Africa is suffering due to Russia-Ukraine conflict, Africa imports around 20 to 30% of its wheat from Russia and Ukraine. And after the start of Russia-Ukraine conflict, wheat prices increased in Africa, around the world, but Africa is suffering a lot because there is already a food shortage in Africa. There is ongoing drought in the Horn of Africa, in Somalia, Kenya and Ethiopia, due to armed conflicts, due to drought and other conditions. Africans have been facing food shortage for years. And Russia-Ukraine conflict is adding to the problems of the people of Africa. Now, Sergei Lavrov is going to visit Ethiopia. Africa has been trying, African leaders have been trying to convince Russia that Russia should lift its blockade imposed on Ukrainian ports. Ukraine should be allowed to export its grains to Africa, to other countries, but so far no agreement could be reached. I think in this summit we could see such discussions, though summit will be held in October. Before that, in the last week of this month, when Sergei Lavrov will visit Ethiopia, these issues will come under discussion. Thirdly, we have a new story from Gambella region of Ethiopia. A small region shares border with South Sudan, shares border with Oromia region of Ethiopia. And for months, we have been reporting about joint operations of Oromo Liberation Army and Gambella Liberation Front. Two armed groups, both have been working in collaboration in Gambella region, and Jalmaro, OLA commander, was seen at an inauguration ceremony of Gambella Liberation Front fighters. So Gatlwak, Bompal and Jalmaro, they are working in collaboration. And we know that last month, it was, I think, 14th of June, when Oromo Liberation Army and Gambella Liberation Front, they jointly launched an attack on Gambella city, capital city of Gambella region, there was a day-long fighting between these armed groups and regional forces. They withdrew, these armed groups withdrew, but they said that they had achieved their objectives, and they looted some banks too, and they captured weapons from Gambella city. Later, Gambella regional government announced that situation had come under control and Gambella city had been cleared, and there were no armed groups operating in Gambella city. And we saw some videos showing extrajudicial killings in Gambella city after the withdrawal or retreat of OLA and GLF from Gambella city. Now, curfew has been imposed in entire Gambella region, not just in Gambella city, but in entire Gambella region. Curfew has been imposed. It has been confirmed. Nighttime curfew from 8 p.m. till 5:30 a.m. Curfew will remain imposed. All vehicle movement banned. Carrying of weapons banned. Movement of people banned. And the curfew has been imposed according to local government to control illegal activities. It means that situation in Gambella is not peaceful. It's not under the control of government forces. And yesterday I shared in a video in detail on the ground situation in Gambella, where number of refugees, number of IDPs is increasing, and these refugees are very vulnerable. They are being recruited by armed groups like GLF, OLA and other armed groups. That is why perhaps this action has been taken and now curfew has been imposed in Gambella. Interestingly, last month, not last month, I think at the start of this month, curfew was imposed in Asosa city of Benishangul Gumuz region. So curfew in Asosa, curfew in Gambella region of Ethiopia. Fourthly, we have a new story for you about Wolkait, also called Western Tigray. Both Amhara Tigray regions have their claims to this disputed territory. Tigray says constitutionally it's part of Tigray. Amhara region says it's non-negotiable. It's part of Amhara. Wolkait is Amhara. Now, yesterday, upper house of Ethiopian parliament met. Session was held with participation of upper house members. Regional presidents were there too. Some decisions have been made. Fiscal decision, budget came under discussion, and there some member of house raised questions about administrative boundaries. Wolkait came under discussion. Is Wolkait constitutionally part of Amhara region? What is the boundary of Amhara region? Does it include Wolkait? We know that the budget allocation for Wolkait and constitutional amendment to make Wolkait part of Amhara region have been demands of Wolkait based pro-Amhara groups and Amhara regional leaders. But we have seen that so far no constitutional amendment has been made, though it is being demanded for months since Wolkait came under the control of Amhara forces, that constitutionally Wolkait should become part of Amhara. So it means that some members of lower and upper houses of parliament want some constitutional amendment to make Wolkait part of Amhara region. But we have not seen any progress towards such constitutional amendment. Why? Because Wolkait is still disputed. Ethiopian government is not sure what is going to happen, what is going to be the future status of Wolkait. So that is why perhaps this issue is pending. Despite calls from MPs, from members of upper house, we have not seen any progress towards changing constitutional status of Wolkait. So while Ethiopian National Defense Force is in Wolkait, and there could be some presence of Amhara regional forces as well in Wolkait, and Amhara region has installed a setup, local government setup in Wolkait, headed by some local administrators and security in charge Colonel Demake. Constitutionally, Wolkait is not part of Amhara so far. That is why these members of parliament, upper house, lower house, they want constitutional amendments. Lastly, viewers, we have a new story from North Shore zone of Amhara region, where last week there were heavy clashes. Not last week, I think at the start of this week, there were heavy clashes between Amhara regional forces and Oromo locals, armed locals. Government officials accuse OLA that OLA was involved in this fighting, but OLA denies. OLA says, in a statement, OLA said that fighting was between Oromo farmers and government forces, Amhara government forces, and Amhara government forces attacked Wolo farmers. So there was heavy fighting 2 days ago, and it means that farmers were well armed. They were backed by some group. How can these local farmers fight regional forces, special forces? It means they are armed, they are well prepared, they are being trained as well, it seems. So in that fighting 2 days ago, reportedly Amhara Special Force suffered heavy losses, because we saw confirmation from Fano as well. Fano issued a statement. Fano, I think Gajjam based Fano faction spoke. It said it showed solidarity with Amhara Special Force. It expressed sorrow over the deaths of large number of Amhara Special Force soldiers. So that is why a counter-offensive was expected. And within the last 2 days, a movement of Amhara regional forces, special forces was seen in North Shore. Large number of vehicles carrying special force members were seen heading towards North Shore. And last night, reportedly, Amhara regional forces launched a counter-offensive. The counter-offensive has been launched in 4 directions towards Allale, near Ataya, in the direction of Kolash and Kude. All these places are in North Shore zone of Amhara region. Here, heavy fighting has been going on since last night. Now what remains to be seen is, will Oromo Liberation Army be directly involved in this fighting or not? OLA denies its direct involvement. But the way this fighting is intensifying, we could see it spread. And OLA members were seen in North Shore, in Oromia Special Zone, in recent months. Let's see. Will government forces be able to control law and order situation and to strike a heavy blow to these armed Wolo farmers, farmers of North Shore zone of Amhara region, or will this fighting spread? That remains to be seen. Thank you for watching.